Right, very well. Founder and Chairman, Board of Trustees of the New Nigeria's People Party, Boniface Aniebonam, says ongoing 2027 coalition negotiations cannot be done by former presidential candidates on behalf of political parties. Aniebonam stated this in reaction to the ongoing merger talks and coalition plans spearheaded by major contenders in the 2023 presidential election, adding that it would not work. We do not have individual candidacy in Nigeria. All presidential candidates emerge from a political party, and it is the parties that determines who will be their flag bearer. According to him, all presidential candidates who lost out in the 2023 election ceased to be leaders of their political parties. He emphasized that the leaders are those in power and the party machinery. Aniebonam expressed surprise that most of the presidential candidates of the various political parties in the last general elections are still carrying themselves as leaders of the various political parties in Nigeria. Aniebonam further stated that the NNPP might decide to go into a technical alliance with sister political parties of similar ideology in 2027 if there is need to do so. What do you make of this statement by NNPP?
You see, when politicians, some of them has failed, they will always think that they are more of a tortoise than every other person. Forgetting that them being tortoise, there are other persons that are called wisdom itself. That political wisdom is also there. So when you are coming like a Nicodemus, that you want to manipulate 30 persons into fighting your personal political interest, people will also find a way to detach themselves and prove to you that they are also grandfathers in this game, and they won't allow you to manipulate nor use them. When the likes of Atiku Abubakar, who has become certainly I'm sorry, you know, I always respect Alhaji himself, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I respect every Nigerian. I also respect.
So why are you apologizing for what you're about to say?
I'm apologizing because some persons may want to read meaning, and I don't want them to read meaning. So I'm apologizing to their minds and conscience. Don't read meaning. Listen to the word I learn. So together we can reason together.
Okay.
That is for me. You see, when Atiku Abubakar now thinks that after 8 years as Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, with all the antecedents, all the confusions, all the bad performance, all the wrong politicking, all the allocation and wheelbarrowing of resources, then Nigerians are songling, you know, they are now suffering from certain level of amnesia, that they can't remember anything, has become an angel who will now speak the political language that Nigerians have been waiting, the man to champion the cause, you know, and path to greatness that Nigeria is actually yearning for. Some of us will sit back and ask, is it not the same Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the PDP man, the same man who won governorship election in Adamawa? Then Obasanjo nominated him to be his vice, and he became vice president. The same man who chaired the National Privatization Council, the same man who was involved in squabbles and economic fight with his boss, the same man that his boss wrote a book about and make certain statements that even himself and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar have not been able to deny, that the master have not expunged those names and those write-offs from his book. Is it not the same Atiku Abubakar? Now becoming the light, political light that Nigeria is waiting for, to champion a coalition, how to remove a government and implant himself. Do you want to take us from fire pan to fire that we should all burn after all your antecedents? Then there is another one who believes that he is a talker. He can talk every Nigerians, and people will begin to lose their senses, that will not remember that he was a former governor in Anambra State who governed for 8 years as well. Such persons are now coming to tell they are forming coalition, that government is bad, that they want to form to remove this government and plan themselves. Plan to you who? A man who could not manage a small unit of the Nigeria state into prosperity that other state was supposed to copy from. A small Anambra, you could not manage it. So suddenly you are now the heaven on earth that will lead Nigeria to the path of Eldorado. The same you that failed woefully as a governor. The same you today that if you are to campaign, you stand on the podium, people are now talk about what you'll be talking about China. China statistics, like in China, like in Malaysia. Instead of telling us like how you were able to manage the poverty in Anambra State, that you now make Anambra people to be prosperous. You don't tell us because you are afraid. Anytime you make mention of Anambra, the governor there will read out all the fake things that they are be covering. So you are afraid to even talk about Anambra State. You don't talk about the roads you are constructed, that the road that now went into the wind with Obiano as he was living. You can't mention these things. You only tell us about China, like in Malaysia, like India. So suddenly you are not the one to champion the path to prosperity. You that we know. So these people sometimes they think that maybe we are like some of their supporters who will not actually investigate what they are saying and come up with a position. You are forming a coalition that you are not speaking for all opposition political parties. Go for NNPP. They are not telling, no, you cannot be our spokesperson. You were a presidential candidate for an election. That you belong to a political party. So whatever thing you are doing might not, be in alliance with our own ideology. So you are not speaking for us. Come or play, let Nigerians see you. NNPP even telling them, come, let us see you where, so that we know how to address you. Rather than this Nicodemus politicking that you are trying to do. These are the issues. So sometimes when I even wonder, some people will tell you that the poverty rate now is high and not that. Insecurity, like the one I read from the PDP talking about insecurity that is so high. Oh, fuel was 87 naira. Now this administration has killed everything. And I ask one simple question. Mr. PDP will not give us the grandfather of politics, the one-time biggest party in Africa, the biggest opposition party in Africa. All the address and respect I give to you, but the question now is, how much was price of a liter of oil as at May 29, 1999? How much? Was it not 20 naira? A liter of oil was 20 naira as at May 29, 1999, when you took over power. Our refineries were working partially. To an extent, with your turnaround maintainer, you maintain everything to tomatoes. Then the next step you took was to issue licenses to political cronies to be importing petroleum product instead of awarding licenses to people to build more refineries in Nigeria or even build more modular refineries in Nigeria. You were dashing licenses to your political crony and association to be importing fear because you have decided that our refinery must not work to eternity. That is your decision. Today you are not talking about, oh, the cost of price is so high and all that. Meanwhile, you are the foundational layer who laid the foundation and ensure that the system is run and calibrated in that pattern. Today you are not telling Nigerians about price of fuel. What happened to the 20 naira? So assuming as you came in, you ensured that the refineries were producing, the licenses you gave for importation were actually licenses to build more refineries. Will there be anything like subsidy removal? Would President Tinubu have said subsidy is gone? He wouldn't have said anything like that.
But then the subsidy payment was stopped before President Tinubu joined office, just that he announced it.
Yes, he announced, he said subsidy is gone because the Buhari administration have removed. The
problem was the undiplomatic way that that announcement was made. That was actually what plunged Nigeria into
I live
crisis.
in Nigeria. We always find an excuse to justify what we are known for. How those things
the night that announcement was made, I remember I was driving home. There was traffic when that announcement was made. In fact, the moment, and I was actually driving to a filling station to buy fuel, and as the moment the announcement was made, fuel stations started shutting down with immediate effect. So I didn't bother going to the particular fuel station where I buy fuel. I just saw one I just entered immediately to buy fuel. Now, while I was in the queue, within a space of 15 minutes, that fuel station was filled up with people with gallons. And in fact, there and then, I had to pay the manager to give me 2 gallons so that I can actually fill my vehicle and also buy for generator, because I don't know what is going to happen. And the interesting thing was that the moment that announcement was made, 200 naira extra was added on all the fuel. By the next day, it was twice the normal amount.
Thank you.
And that was the beginning of this whole thing.
Thank you for reminding me this. This is why I always told Nigeria that most of our problem is not because we don't have laws. Yes, if you weigh the percentage of implementation of laws in Nigeria is very low. I agreed. But the biggest problem that we are facing that is bedeviling this country is our attitude. It's the attitude question. It's attitude problem. I was in a filling station at Abuja. We wanted to buy fuel. Then suddenly, one guy just picked a car. I just came. I said, man, hey. He said we should wait. And we waited in the next 15 minutes and know that they have adjusted prices. Why? He said they have increased prices. Where am I driving to? The same filling stations. If you announce reduction in prices of this same commodity, right now, you go to the station and you tell them it has been announced so that the price has been reduced. In fact, implementation took effect immediately. They will tell you I have no stock. This one I bought, I must exhaust it first before I will readjust the price. But immediately there is an increment. Hey,
they will increase on
they
the
will
old
increase
stock.
it immediately on the old stock. See,
probably because they will have to buy at the price.
You
of,
will have to,
they will have to buy at current market price.
You have to buy at current market price, but
So
you
if
bought
they-
at the
if
previous
they-
market price.
If they sell at the price of the old stock, they might run a loss by the time they buy.
They
at
might
the
run a
current
loss, but you bought at the
price.
at the rate of the old price, right? Right. That means if you finish this, so you will make more gains than you are supposed to have made. So you are to make gain while Nigerians are to bear the losses. Is that what you are tell me now? These are the orientation between the marketer. This is what they are doing.
I wanted to address you from the angle of a business person. Let me make it simple.
I understand.
You are already selling at 100 naira.
Yes.
And then there is an increment. Probably you still have over 1,000 liters left, or
Yes.
let's say 500 liters left. Yes. And then there is an announcement, or
that
you
the price
realize
has
that
increased.
the buying price
have increased.
is now 120 naira. Meanwhile, you're selling at 100 naira.
Yes.
You will increase your price to the current price, so that, because if you sell at the old price,
you might not have money
you
to
will
buy
not
again.
have money to buy again. This is just the basics.
The business
Do you understand?
sense
Now,
in it.
why the consumer feels cheated? The retailer will tell you that he is in it to make profit and he has to stay afloat. So one would now be questioning the volatility of the market and the volatility of the dollar against the naira.
See,
that has led to this inconsistency in pricing.
I understand that business sense, but the business sense should not be only in the favor of the marketers.
Okay.
What about in a situation where the price is reduced?
Why can't they reduce it?
Why can't we also reduce it so that the same Nigerians who have been bearing the losses that you say, oh, you have old stock and all that.
That's the thing again. If they reduce, they will run at a loss.
Okay, they will run at a loss.
Yes.
But if the price has been reduced, bought at the rate of the old.
Now let's say they bought at the rate of 100 and let's say, or let's just say they bought at the rate of 925 naira.
Yes.
And then the price now is now reduced to
the cost price is now
910 naira.
Yes.
If they reduce their selling price to 910 naira, they've not even gotten to their capital.
Now listen.
Not to mention do you understand?
I understand you very well. Now you believe that if you reduced because you bought 1,000, let me use a flat rate, 1,000 naira, and the cost price now as announced, okay, it's now 900 naira, right? Now they say the price have reduced, and you decided to stick with the old price. Why don't you do the same thing? Because the Nigerians will always be at the loss.
Anyway, you look at it from the point of the marketer or the retailer, he's running a loss.
He's running a loss.
That is why don't Nigerians, one, the oil market is not regulated as it should be.
It's regulated, but the point now is the effectiveness.
Independent marketers, people can buy from anywhere and any source.
It's regulated.
Now that is why
it's the monitoring, and the rest of that is the problem.
That is why you don't have fixed prices.
If you fix it, means you are
do your due diligence on this one. That's why they don't have fixed prices. So and so filling station may buy 900 naira. Another filling station will buy 899 naira, and that filling station will buy 902 naira. So now they will check cost of logistics and all of that, add it up. That's why you're having different prices from
because
different.
It is free market economy.
Yes.
It is now free
Now
market
the question
economy.
will now be, how do they monitor this? How do they regulate this more? And secondly, how are we going to? What can the government do to reduce dollar volatility?
See, Laurentia,
Especially with forex, so that things can stabilize.
Laurentia, sometimes when people talk about this dollarization of our local economy, I feel this pain.
All right.
I feel this pain because we are not measuring our local economy based on the strength of the dollar, a foreign currency. The thing now is simple here. It's simple here. Now, when you operate a free market economy,
now we are moving the economy and we are leaving business. We are leaving politics to move into economy.
I will still come back to my point.
Okay,
when
go
you
ahead.
operate a free market economy, yes, supervision and monitoring is very key. Is very key. But the element of greed of these marketers also play a major role. What level of greed do I have? What level of greed does Laurentia has? So we now also play a role in fixing prices of our commodity. A man might even buy from Port Harcourt refineries, and somebody might buy from Dangote refineries in Lagos, right? The one who brought in from Dangote refinery in Lagos might say cheaper than the one that he bought from Port Harcourt that will just take maybe 3 kilometers to get to his filling station. That is the level of the greed. Now back to politics, PDP. So the thing now is, what I'm trying to say is, when you were saying the government has failed, that is the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president, has failed. You want him removed. Hence you are forming all this coalition. You are now speaking on behalf of every other political party as if they have elected or appointed you as spokesperson. The point now, we also ask you one question. This finger you are pointing is one that is fixing Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. What about the other 4? You say insecurity is so enormous. When Boko Haram was baited, was it under the administration of APC or Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Was it not under the administration of PDP? When they started as Talibans, what did you do to tame the situation? You play politics around it. We even have some of your men, your party men, who were saying that certain event that happens where some rockets were alleged to have been found around wharf, a certain wharf, and you people call it house matter, family affair, and that was the end of it. And later we began to find these rockets, these weapons, ammunition in the hands of people around. What did you do? When there was severe bombing around Abuja, even today, when the UN office was attacked and the rest around Abuja, was it under the administration of APC or Bola Ahmed Tinubu? So what did you do? What actually did you bequeath the government of the day? What asset did you leave? They were functional, that was supposed to help Nigeria towards the path of prosperity. What was the level of production here that you bequeathed the administration? Which industry was actually producing? You came with the idea of privatization of electricity. You privatized and you shared among your political friends and all the rest of it, that even we're not paying for that, they charge for darkness. You blaming the same thing on Tinubu, that Tinubu is the reason. So assuming you have these things on ground, will this administration have any excuse not to have done or improve on them? A religious book says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? What can they do?
All right.
You destroy the fabric of the society. You created so much dissatisfaction. In fact, election there was more of selection. Where people are going to polling unit, results are being announced. That was the election you bequeathed Nigerian. Today, the case is different. Even the man from Anambra State, with all due respect to him, February 6, 2010, we knew what happened, called governorship election. That even himself at a time, he was protected. But when he now discovered that, oh, the game they plotted actually worked, he came again and was praising INEC. The same INEC, oh, the same INEC that is now evil today. INEC was good then. Where other parties were protesting, I said, this was charade. It was nothing near election. They were telling you, pointing at the error. You say, oh, it was fine. It was the most freest election that had been conducted in the history of Nigeria. Because you won the declare today. Oh, administration Afe, you are not the angel. People should come. Let us sit. Come, let us see you one-on-one. Stop being Nicodemus, you know, and trying to deceive Nigeria. Let us see so that we can address you properly. When you came, poverty was 41.4% in Anambra State, but you took it to 51.something% when you were, but today you are shouting everywhere, poverty, coalition, we must take over government. Who are you fooling?
All right.